show since you left the
And hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Kyle the Pug Sports Review Show, episode number 10. Now, why wasn't episode number 10 on the air last Friday? Well, I had some personal matters to attend to. It was, grandfather's week, birthday weekend, I had to honor him, stuff like that. So I did this little thing. But kind of personal, though, but I'll talk to you guys a little about that later. But anyways, this is episode number 10. Welcome to the show. I am Kyle the Pug, a.k.a. Kyle Lodi, your host for the most of the man with a plan. And we have over here is Cowboy Nick. Now, Cowboy Nick is apparently not on his Skype for some reason because it's acting weird on his end, and he's kind of pissed off about it right now. So, Cowboy, what's going on, man?
Well, my Skype was being a baseless piece and being a booby-wooby, and it wouldn't let happen. And I'm trying to fix it right now, and it's not letting Cowboy Nick in. So I'm trying to fix it right now so that it will let me in. So.
All right. Well, while you're fixing that for like the next 30, well, I don't know. You can probably get rid of that for like the next 30 minutes. We got some topics to talk about here, and as always, we got the 3 hottest topics for you guys to talk about for like the each segment of the show. So we're gonna be talking about remembering Muhammad Ali, who passed away a few days ago, and we have got, of course, the Stanley Cup playoff updates. But right now, we're going to actually get into first the Game 3 tonight of the Warriors and the Cavs. So, Warriors are up 2-0. Let's recap here a little bit. So, like I said, up 2-0, and they've blown out the Cavaliers out of the water due to, of course, their bench points. And everybody's giving the Cavs, an easy, ride-in because, they're in the Eastern Conference. And people have been saying, put them in the Western Conference, they're going to probably have some really tight games down the stretch, or they probably wouldn't even get out of the first or second round, blah, blah, blah. But that being said, let's move on to Game 3 tonight. Warriors-Cavs, what's your prediction out of all this, and what do you expect?
Well, since the Cavs are home, I was expecting the Cavs to do pretty good, but like I said before, and I will say this again, the Warriors are like fishermen, man. They so well.
So what are the Cavs' chances of coming back to beat the Warriors in at least 6 games?
Well, I will say this. It could happen, but all I have to say is the fact that all these things that you see and everything like that, and all this stuff that you do, it's just wow, because when you see people doing these things, and doing all this stuff, you're just like, wow, because when you see something like this, and you are doing things, you're just like, wow, because when you look at these things and you see these things, you are just like, wow, because all these things you have, it's just crazy. It's just like, wow, because you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna be going on, and that's what people say. No one knows what's gonna happen because you can say one thing and have many others because these things are just really, really, really incredible. Because I have seen people say, oh yeah, we have had all this stuff, and we've had days, and we've had these, we've had all this, but yet, and I will say this, when you have these things, like when you have a team like the Warriors who are just coming in and they're just dating and switching, never know what's going to happen. And it's just like real great because you never know what's going to happen. And when you have things like that happening, you just never really know what's going to happen. It's like so crazy because when you look at these things and you wonder what's going to happen, it's just like wow because
Okay, I'm gonna stop you because you said wow like over a combination of 13 times, so I'm pretty much gonna stop you there. But anyways, yeah, I kind of stopped you for your own greater good because it sounds like you're still kind of pissed off. But anyways, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions here really quick, just a little bit, moving on. So I know your answers were kind of far fetched when I was hearing them because. Like I said, he kept saying because, wow, and crazy, like a combination of 42 times. But I don't know. I probably lost track of counting. But anyways, are the Warriors this good or are the Cavs playing this bad?
Basically what it is the Cavs are playing, or the Cavs playing this bad because of that, with the Cavs playing this bad, you really don't know what's going to happen because the Cavs aren't really playing the way that you would think they would be playing with high impact performance and massive.
Well, I'll tell you why the Warriors are actually this good in the NBA Finals. It's because of Klay Thompson and their defense in solving LeBron James. Because they've solved LeBron James, for the first two games, and they've been just absolutely just tearing him apart. The defense, the defense for the Warriors as of, like I said, for the first two games has just really, really been, just so damn good. And they're stopping, people, like I said, they're stopping LeBron James, they're stopping Kyrie. They're even stopping the bench as well, if you want to throw that into the mix, too.
That's true, but the fact is, when you're looking at this, you're looking at a place like, this part, like this area, and you are getting things like, like this, and you're just wondering for yourself, what's going on? What is going on? What's happening? And it's really causing things that's so weird.
All right, so here's the other question. I was going to ask you. So Kevin Love is not playing Game 3 tonight since he's not clear to play Game 3. So how important is Kevin Love's absence?
It's pretty important. I will say that it is pretty important because of the fact that you need to have something that's gonna help you. That's gonna help you win. And with that, you gotta have things that are gonna change. Like people like that. How can I save myself? And how can you save yourself? It's just something you have to do. And it's just something you can't say, oh, I'm going to do this. You can't. Because if you don't do this, you're going to wind up having these problems. And having these problems that a lot of people have, it's not going to be fun. Why? Because because of what's going to happen. You have to understand that when you have something like this, and you say, I have to do this or do this. It doesn't work like that. It's not, I have to do this, I have to do this. It's basically, I have to do.
All right. Okay. Well, we got to move on here really quick. I'm gonna make you answer one more question. Who wins tonight, real quick?
I'm gonna go ahead and have to say it's gonna be the Warriors with that bait and switch strategy like a fisherman does, because it's just the fact that the way the Warriors play, they tire out Golden State, and then they bring it to the point where Golden State has to basically just have to try to get themselves back in the fold, and that's what has to happen. It's not just I did it again. It's basically oops, I need to do this better than them.
All right, so I'm gonna say this is gonna be a split between the next two games in Cleveland, and I'm not gonna tell you which order it is, honestly, but I know that the Cavs are gonna win at least one in Cleveland, maybe two. You never know if they actually do get Kevin Love back, but I think they might sneak one in there just because they're at home. But hey, who knows from here? But anyways, moving on here, since apparently Cowboy Nick liked to take up most of the segment for that part. Don't know why, but that's how he usually is. Wink, wink. So we are going to talk a little bit serious here, and we're going to talk about the remembrance of one of the greatest boxing, one of the greatest fighters of all time, and that's obviously, if you don't know who I'm talking about, then you've probably been living under a rock like for the past 6 decades. Muhammad Ali, who died at the age of 74 after a long battle with Parkinson's disease. Really, really sad. And basically, he influenced, the sport of boxing. He was one of the greatest fighters of all time, and he was just he didn't just influence, boxing, but he influenced life, and he gave a lot of people so much hope that it was he was basically a hero to most people and a legend and an icon. And people looked up to him like he was basically a boxing god, and for that matter, he was fast on his fist and his foot, and basically with his lip too. And he was a heavyweight champion who promised to shock the world, and he basically did. He floated, he stung, mostly thrilled even after the punches had taken their toll, and their voice barely rose above a whisper. And he was basically the greatest of all time. We'll just leave it at that.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And I will say this, and a lot of people say they laugh about this, but I will say this. When him and George Foreman got in that fight, basically George Foreman's last words before he went down were you can grill anything on this, and then he saw a vision of himself telling one of his grills.
Well, I don't remember that. I don't remember even that at all, but I remember that. I remember this though. Muhammad Ali. I mean, he battled Parkinson's disease for basically decades, and he had been hospitalized over a few other times in recent years, including in early 2015 of a severe urinary tract infection, initially diagnosed as pneumonia. So he's been hospitalized, a few times, and he looked like he was in really bad shape. But he kept fighting though over those years, and that's. You're not just like in the boxing ring, but out of the boxing ring, he was just an absolute fighter. Well, even for in his like mid-70s, I mean, I wouldn't even go up against him even at that age. I would probably still get my ass whooped. But anyways, one of my favorite moments, going back, living of course to Muhammad Ali's legacy. He was 56-5 like overall, and he had like a few I think. I would say over 30 knockouts, I believe. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. We'll have to look back here shortly. But one of my favorite moments, though, it was basically the boxing match that he had with Joe Frazier. I mean, it was probably one of the greatest boxing fights I've ever seen.
It was against Joe Frazier, my God, like seriously, he was looking at Joe Frazier and Frazier was looking at him like to say, what the fuck? And you don't know when you see a man like that, with his legs like the way he was doing, my God, it was like he was like, can't touch it, no, can't touch it, no, can't touch it. And because of that, he just was going crazy, and that he thought to himself was and I'm just saying this was just basically that, because of the fact that, man, when you did that, it was just like that, because some of the knockouts he did, it was only 3 punches. You just did ping, ping,
Well, here's the funny thing about that. So Muhammad Ali, well, not funny, but it's just like another statistic I was going to drop out for all of you who are watching this video. Muhammad Ali fought 50 men and only one of them disappeared. One disappeared. Yeah. That's actually a true story.
And I would say this. The other thing was the key hit. And I'm just saying that you're going to go out of it too. Was what he did. And I'm just saying that what he did to people for what he did on 9/11, stating that he had the Ferguson there. He basically said that being a Muslim does not mean you're not evil. I am sorry. And he said this, and you could see it as he said on the news, and they showed it 3 days after being on 9/11. He said, unquote, I am sorry for what they did, because being a Muslim does not mean doing something like this, because
and you're right, it doesn't mean anything.
no, it doesn't. And for what they did, they're like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna cut the blade too, because Sullivan lost Nolan. Well, if Sullivan lost Nolan, just take your pants off and don't jack off, would you do it? That's basically what
you probably.
Sorry, folks out there who are gonna follow me through all that. Like, dude, hey, what do you think? I didn't ask. But they're probably gonna think like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? What was that supposed to be?
You know, the sad thing is they probably would do that too.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to Muhammad Ali here really quick. Basically, according to Max Kellerman, former Around the Horn host, for his comments on Muhammad Ali, he basically did the impossible, and that's pretty much what sums it up about him. He pretty much did the impossible.
He did, and I'm just saying this, and I'm saying this, and just the fact that, and I'm just saying this, and people need to probably say, Nick, you're pretty crazy. But the fact is, and I'm just saying this, and this is, is the fact, and I will say this to all you people out there, it's just the fact that you have to understand this, and I'm just going by what people say and what people do. You have to understand when you're in a Islamic terrorist group, if the head guy who you think is all God,
Okay. I know where this is going. But anyways, real quick here before we move on. So the memorial service for Ali is this Friday, and to the tickets to his memorial service, as soon as they went up, they were like sold out within an hour. So they're gonna do a memorial service for Mr. Ali, and all these celebrities and actors, sports stars. They're all gonna be there, just to remember what Muhammad Ali accomplished, and they're basically celebrating his life. So I don't know if they're going to air it on TV or not. They might, but I mean, who knows from here. So anyways, this is a huge, shout out to Muhammad Ali in heaven. Rest in peace, buddy. Your legend, your icons and everything else. Icons? What are you? Well, he had other icons too. But anyways, your legacy will never be forgotten. So that's to you, buddy. So anyways, moving on here really quick. We are going to get into a more lighter note as we're going to be talking about the Stanley Cup Finals update. So, Cowboy Nick, you know what to do.
Oh yeah, and the Stanley Cup update for this gonna be just amazing. People are asking, what's it gonna be? Well, right now, back at the Penguins home arena, it's gonna be going nuts. If the Penguins only one more win, and they take home of they get home with their honeypot. Then honestly, why is it happening? Because the Sharks aren't playing the way they should. Why is that? Because the Sharks are tired. They've been forced to play. Not what they should play, but what they have to play. If you ask, what does that mean, Cowboy Nick? What it is the fact that the Sharks, most of their energy, plays against in the other games before they got into this series. And when you get into a thing like this, you get into those things where you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired of this. And you can't get like that. When you get into that kind of problem, and you have that kind of problem, you're in a point where you're like, oh shit. You're at that point where you can't look at yourself and you're just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Oh my God, what am I supposed to do? And when you play against a team like the Penguins, you can't let yourself get into that point, because when you let yourself get into that point, you're screwed. Why? Because of the fact that you did not hit the point that you needed. What do I mean by that? Well, for the fact that you did get into a point, but you forgot one thing. And a lot of people don't recognize this, but you forgot one thing. You're playing a team against a team like the Penguins. They pick up the trash. No matter what you do on the court or your man, they pick up the trash. They don't wait for you to make mistakes. They don't wait for you to have these problems. And when you do that, and you have these problems, guess what? You screw up.
And here's the other. I'm going to give you 5 other reasons why the Penguins are at 3-1 against the Sharks as well. So the first one being is that they've always have played with the lead, and basically the Penguins have never trailed in the entire series. And yeah, they lost in overtime in Game 3 in San Jose, but they have never played from behind. So basically, with a lead, it gives you it's so many advantages, including sticking to your game plan, rolling forward lines with rhythm, and avoiding the temptation to force things in order to pretty much create offense. And it's what San Jose had to do for the 3 rounds before the Cup Finals, in which the Sharks have played constantly with the lead. But it's Pittsburgh that has scored first and set the tempo in all 4 final games so far. And it's pretty much a pretty good feeling if you're a Penguins fan, though, too, since if you have the lead, then you're going to set a pretty good tone and rhythm for the next few minutes or so in the Stanley Cup Finals. So the second one being is that they have nullified the mighty Sharks power play with their incredible defense. So the Sharks they aren't getting as many power play opportunities as they did in the opening 3 rounds. But the Penguins have also clearly done their homework. Pittsburgh's penalty killers are anticipating some of the San Jose's go-to plays. Notably, Joe Thornton either setting up Joe Pavelski for the one-timer in the slot or Brent Burns at that point. And the Penguins have had active sticks and been in lanes and basically been aggressive, at the right times. And The third reason being is that they also have crazy depth, though, too. And when I mean they have crazy depth, I mean the Penguins have crazy depth. So Ian Cole and Ben Lovejoy pretty much centered by Matt Cullen. And, of course, Lockmiller finally got his Skype up and running, so we're going to actually try to at least get that up there before...
Yeah, I probably got that.
Yeah, hold on.
I have that learning disability where it takes me a little time, but you might want to log in, partner.
Well, I already am logged in. I already got the...
Why does it show that you're, right now, it shows that you're offline?
Well, I'm actually online on my phone.
Oh, well...
Well, anyways, okay. Let me finish this really quick. So the fourth reason being the Penguins are up, 3-1, is that they've quieted San Jose's big guys. Pavelski, Thornton, Logan Couture, and Burns have no goals yet in the Cup Finals due to, of course, a tremendous defensive job by the Penguins, notably on Pavelski, so far. So the Sharks captain entered the Cup with the finals with 13 goals in 18 playoff games. The seemingly unstoppable force, if you ask, the Los Angeles Kings, Nashville Predators, and St. Louis Blues anyway. But Pittsburgh has done a great job of keeping him in check. But at number 5 is, of course, Sidney Crosby is being Sidney Crosby. The best player in the world has been the best player in the Cup Finals. No 87's all-around game has been on full display in the entire series, especially at the defensive end. He is the front-runner for the Conn Smythe Trophy as the playoff MVP and cemented that with an impactful championship series. So, that being said, what do you think about those 5 reasons?
I like those reasons, and I really do. But the one thing I will say this also about the Penguins is, like I said before, they pick up the trash. And when you look at a team that...
Defensively, too. Don't forget, like I said, defensively.
They look for the Sharks to make their case. And I've talked to a lot of people who think, too, the Penguins, basically, shouldn't they call it the Penguins? I talked to some people from Minnesota. They should be renamed. They should be renamed the Crocodiles. Why? Because they have a great force. They have a great to make that one mistake, and then they take advantage of you.
Yeah, but that name doesn't really sound that fitting at all.
Yes, but their goaltending as well. Their goaltender is one of the most disciplined goaltenders in...
Oh, Matt Murray, he's a beast. He's been playing out of his mind in goalie, too. I mean, I know Martin Jones has also. I mean, both goalies actually have been playing good. It's just the one flaw I see with the Sharks, though, is they're not attacking enough in the Stanley Cup Finals. And that's what the Penguins are doing. And not just that, attacking, but defensively, Matt Murray's just been on fire.
Well, plus, yeah, and plus, when you look at their goaltender from the Penguins as well, did you know they found him? They didn't find him at Oklahoma, Minnesota. They found him at Harvard.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, a lot of hockey players come from Harvard. It makes sense.
A lot of them come from Minnesota as well. They're the Golden Gophers.
Well, yeah, Minnesota's got a pretty decent little hockey program.
But anyway, well, that's a good thing. I'm talking about you actually playing for the Golden Gophers. I mean, by your Golden Gopher, not actually being your Gopher. But anyway,
Ooh,
the fact is, when you look at a team like Harvard, and you look at Harvard has from what I've seen, a lot of information I've got from Harvard. Harvard has over 26 championship medals starting from 1990 to all the way up till now. They're now one of the top teams in hockey. And when you get a goaltender, one of their goaltenders who's disciplined like that, gosh, you're looking at a team that should outplay for more. And now that they'll be playing at the Central Energy Center in Pittsburgh, where you have
and you have one more game left to clinch it. And you have one more game left just to clinch it. You're up 3-1 going back to Pittsburgh and possibly, clinching the whole Stanley Cup championship and bringing home a Lord Stanley's Cup for like a year.
Well, yeah, it's not like I said before when I
there's a huge advantage shifting to the Penguins.
But like I said before on Facebook, there's a lot of people they read and look at is the fact that does do the Penguins really need another Stanley Cup because they already have one? Look how many they already have.
If Sidney Crosby wins one more, which I think is going to happen, then he's going to cement his legacy, as being one of the top hockey players in the world. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be close to, like, Wayne Gretzky or maybe Patrick Waugh, goaltending-wise or such, but he's definitely going to be up there for sure, for damn sure.
Those are not just passionate hockey players. When you look at what you're just talking about right there, those are legends of hockey. They're gods of hockey.
Exactly. So.
Like, come on, look at some of the stuff he did in hockey.
Well, no kidding. That's like saying thanks, Captain Obvious. We know what Wayne Gretzky did. But anyways, with that being said, we are going to be out of here on Kyle the Pug Sports Review Show, episode number 10. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And if you guys did, please drop a like and don't forget to subscribe to Kyle the Pug Sports today. So that being said, I'm Kyle the Pug. That's Cowboy Nick.
And also, folks, do not forget to check out Kyle's main page where he's got one of his best videos that he's ever made, and it's called Why I'm a Badass. It's one of the best and funniest videos you'll ever see out there. I will tell you, it's a very beautiful. I'd love to comment on that.
That is not actually what the title is called, but okay. But like I said, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I'll see you guys hopefully Friday for sure, on Kyle the Pug Sports Review Show, episode 11. So have a good day, guys, and as always, stay safe. Peace.
You've been out all night, I don't know where you've been. You're slurring on your words, not making any sense, but I don't fucking get